New research has found that stimulating the brain with electricity could help sufferers to stop all that. Katie Silver reports.
Philippa Layla has had bulimia nervosa for 15 years after she hit a rocky point while studying medicine in Scotland.
I've got some eggs that were best before the 8th of December.
As part of her condition, she hoards food until it's way past its use-by date.
If there's ever a nuclear explosion, I have enough for every single person. So there's probably stuff in here that's been in here for years.
Do you have a fear of running out of food? Is that part of it, or?
Yes, I have a definite fear of being hungry.
Despite having this stash, she only actually eats 3 ingredients, which she weighs on her 3 scales without fail.
These are very accurate, and I have 2 just to check. And then this is the backup one.
As you can imagine, bulimia has taken over Philippa's life and torn it apart.
It got to the point where the only thing in my life was the bulimia, the eating disorder, and that was me from getting up to going to bed. So I had nothing else in my life, so therefore I can't socialise, so therefore I didn't mix with people, so therefore I got depressed. And it just became an onward cycle that I just could not break.
But there's new research which is providing some hope. It was conducted by Maria Kekic for her doctorate and involves sending weak electrical currents to a part of the brain known as the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. It's associated with impulse control.
So Maria, tell me how this works.
Okay, so I'd put this rubber headband on your head, just like this. Yep. And then these 2 electrodes would be slotted into the front. And then I'd just turn the stimulation on. So you feel a slight tingling sensation when it starts. So can you feel that? So what's happening is a weak current is being sent from this, which is like a battery, round in a circuit through your brain.
Oh yeah, I can feel it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like tingles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is designed to make me later on feel less impulsive?
That's what we hoped would happen. So these are the scales that we'd asked participants to complete.
The technology gave participants like Philippa less urge to binge.
I just came out and my brain thought completely differently. It was like something had been switched and it was back into being kind of how I remember it when I was early teenager or mid-teenager.
And perhaps most importantly, the research has allowed her to believe that her future might be brighter than her past. Katie Silver, BBC News.
Well, Dr. Maria Kekic, the researcher in that story, joins us now to tell us a bit more. How does it actually work then? How does the electrical stimulation stop these urges?
So we target an area of the brain that we know is important in impulse control, and we know that this is also a problem in people with bulimia. So when we send the electricity through this area of the brain, it alters the activity of cells in this area, and that in turn alters people's impulsivity and gives them more self-control.
So it stops them doing what precisely?
So it stops them having urges to overeat, urges to compensate for that overeating, gives them more control over their bulimia symptoms.
That's pretty incredible, isn't it? I mean, how big was your sample of people that you trialled it on?
So it was 39 people with bulimia who took part in our study, and they received 1 session of this brain stimulation. They also received a placebo session as well, so we could tell that these were real effects in it, and it wasn't just a placebo effect.
And this was for King's College London. Could this be rolled out then as some sort of treatment, or is it too early to say that?
It is in the very early stages, so this research paves the way for the next study, which we would hope would be a multi-session trial, so a trial involving multiple sessions of this brain stimulation, which we hope would have longer lasting effects on symptoms.
And this could presumably have, use in other areas, couldn't it? I mean,
definitely. So it's being used in other psychiatric disorders as well. There's lots of work that's been done in depression, in schizophrenia, and in these disorders it's a little bit further progress, the research. So they have seen long-lasting effects that can be maintained for sort of years after they've received the treatment. So it really is
We all know, of course, of the, the awful images from years ago of trying to control patients with these electric shocks and electrodes, all in horror films really now, aren't they? Is this totally safe and controlled?
It is. So that's ECT that you're thinking of, and ECT uses electrical currents up to about 800 times stronger than the ones used with TDCS. TDCS is completely safe. There is a very small risk of seizure, but no one's ever reported that ever happening.
But do you think there's been enough trials to know that the seizure risk is acceptable?
Yes, definitely. There's been plenty, and actually, it even can be used to actually treat epilepsy.
So if this was to be proven, how many years away are we from seeing this perhaps being actually given and offered to patients?
That's a bit difficult to tell at this stage because we really do need more research using multi-session trials, as I said. So it's kind of something that could definitely happen in the future, but it does depend on the results of future trials. Certainly.
And how big a problem is bulimia? I mean, we all know about anorexia and bulimia, and we all hear about, those of us who are parents, about, young girls especially getting just more and more image conscious and therefore worried about how they look.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big problem in young women. Estimates are as high as 7% of young women suffer from bulimia, if we include people who just have symptoms of the disorder as well. So, in these people, it's associated with lots of physical complications. It can lead them to isolate themselves socially as well. So it really is something that we need to be thinking about how to treat better.
So you now looking for funding? Is that what you're after?
That will be the next step, yeah.
Okay, so if anyone wants to get in touch, you're at King's College London.
Yeah, please.
Thanks very much.
Thank
We'll
you.
give you a little plug. Thanks very much for coming in.